Yellowstone supervolcano deformation. USGS admits we're tracking it. This is after the Caldera rose by 2 feet. This by Filmora Express UK. The Caldera rose 2 feet, and the Yellowstone supervolcano geologists state that it was exactly 70 centimeters in parts, according to USGS, who revealed they will continue, of course, to monitor it. Well, of course, they have to monitor it because there's so many changes they're coming up with, announcements every single week. I'm holding my breath because I want to find out what they're going to tell us concerning the magnitude 5 earthquake that struck a couple of days ago, just west of the new hotspot, new thermal area, and why they downgraded it down to 4.4 magnitude. That's pretty big anyway. So what is going on? What is the truth about what is going on? There's deformation coming up, going down, and the Norris Geyser Basin, where the Steamboat Geyser is, where it's been erupting, erupted 30 times last year since March of last year, and another 12 times up to now this year. And what is going on? Of course they have to follow it and monitor it. They found a new thermal area. They found deformations. We've had a big quake 5 downgraded to 4.4, and within the hour of that 5, they had another 10. And it's been going on. The quake swarms have been going on since then. And they're pretty big, anything from 3.5 to 2 to 2.5. Now, the Yellowstone supervolcano, located, as we know, in Yellowstone National Park in western U.S. in Wyoming. And we've had earthquakes it goes into Montana, it goes into Ohio, even down to Utah, because all those fault lines are connected. And also Utah, these are also volcanic areas surrounding the supervolcano. As we know, the last big eruption was 630,000 years ago. It also had another volcanic eruption 70,000 years ago, and it's erupted another 80 times since then. This is all according to USGS, but it is of great interest to the United States Geological Survey, as it continues, of course, to pose a threat. Jacob Lowenstein, the leading scientist in charge of monitoring Yellowstone, revealed how the Yellowstone caldera has risen by 2.3 feet over time. He was speaking at a public lecture in Menlo Park, California, just a few years ago, in 2014, before all this has been announced, disclosed to us concerning the new thermal areas, the rising, the deformation, and the various bigger quakes. So Lowenstein revealed how the ground rising from Yellowstone was measured. He said, quote, "So the really remarkable thing about Yellowstone is that it moves up and down. The ground surface is unstable, and over time it moves." Bob Smith was one of the parties that came in and resurveyed a series of roads that had not been surveyed since the 1920s. Can you imagine? This park is so huge that they have over 10,000 hydrothermal things there, hydrothermal sources. Yellowstone has over 60% of the world's geysers. And one of the new thermal spots that they found, they have to go and examine it. It's very difficult to get there. There's no roads close by. So they have to trek up there, I guess camp out with all their equipment, find out what is there. What is it? What is it? Is it new geysers? Are they new geyser fields? Are there new springs, hot springs? Are they fumaroles? What is there exactly that's there? Now, Dan Zurizin also worked on this subject, and he's from the Cascades Volcano Observatory. Bob and his colleagues reoccupied the benchmarks that were done previously in Yellowstone. He made a contour map that shows the number of millimeters that the area has gone up, that is, has risen. He went on to reveal how parts of the ground had risen as much as 70 centimeters or 2.3 feet in the last 50 years. He added, quote, "You can make out 500, 400, and 700 is the largest in the middle. Most of the activity is going on in the caldera, and the uplift is about 700 millimeters in between two areas we call the resurgent domes." So it's 700 millimeters or 70 centimeters, which is about 2 feet, and so that has happened in 50 years. This is a remarkable observation and something we have been tracking ever since. "We're trying to understand it," Lowenstein said. Mr. Lowenstein revealed during the same lecture how Philetus Norris witnessed a geyser gone bad in the 19th century. He said Philetus Norris was the second superintendent at Yellowstone, and he had the good fortune of witnessing a hydrothermal explosion. It was a geyser gone bad. Rocks were thrown into the air, and he had a great quote about his experience. "A hydrothermal explosion occurs when superheated water trapped below the surface of the earth rapidly converts from liquid to steam." Lowenstein continued, he said, "The pool was considerably enlarged, its immediate border swept entirely clear of that movable rock, enough of which had been hurled to force back to form a ridge from knee to breast high at a distance of 20 to 50 feet from the ragged edge of the yawning chasm." A very alternative quote, but essentially describing the hydrothermal explosion. Norris, who in turn had the geyser named after him, that is Norris Geyser Basin, was a key figure in establishing the Yellowstone National Park. Alert! Yellowstone, magnitude 5.0 earthquake and earthquake swarm hit west of the supervolcano's Yellowstone Lake. Unfortunately, the USGS has downgraded this 5.0 earthquake down to a 4.4. But we'll look at the details of it. They downgraded from a 5.0 to a 4.9. And we'll see this on Seismo Berkeley. They still have it as a 4.9, whereas, of course, USGS has taken it down to a 4.4, 59 kilometers from Dillon, Montana. And I don't know why. Perhaps they're just trying to mitigate the size of this. We'll see that there's at least a swarm of about 10 earthquakes. This is found due west of Yellowstone Lake. It's just north of Red Rock River at the Lima Reservoir. And we'll get into the details of that. Unfortunately, that's not a small quake. It's west of the lake and west of the new thermal area that has been found recently. The earthquake swarms are just in that area, 10 kilometers northeast of Lima, Montana. Here we are at Seismo Berkeley. We have the earthquake swarm here. As we zoom in, we'll see what exactly is going on. You have this just west of Yellowstone Lake, which is here. We have an earthquake swarm, and here we have the 5.0, well, 4.9, and USGS has downgraded that to a 4.4. But everybody's involved with this now. They're saying that is a huge earthquake for that area. If we go to what Scientific American a little while back reported, Yellowstone National Park rattled by largest earthquake in 34 years. And that quake was a lot less than today's. Yellowstone National Park sits atop one of the world's largest supervolcanoes, struck by a magnitude 4.8, you see. And no doubt that was also probably lowered. The biggest recorded there since February 1980. No damage or injuries were immediately reported. Tremor, relatively light event by seismic standards, struck the northwest corner, again northwest. This is exactly northwest again of the lake. That's the lake right there. So basically it's in the same area. Struck by northwest corner of the park and capping a flurry of smaller quakes. At Yellowstone, we're talking about an earthquake swarm. We had an earthquake swarm here right after that, in a time period of about an hour, we had about 10. Now, we have to keep in mind that the recorded quakes are a lot more than the reported quakes, for some reason. Now, the national park spans, as we said, 3,172 square miles, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and drawing millions of visitors each year. U.S. Geological Survey team planned to tour Norris Geyser Basin. People reported feeling the shaking, of course. About 1,000 to 3,000 quakes strike Yellowstone every year, according to Yellowstone. It's a lot more than that. These are the ones that are reported. They recorded a lot more. The ancient supervolcano, or Caldera, lies beneath the surface of the park, discovered by scientists in recent years to be 2.5 times larger than previously thought. Measured at 30 miles wide, according to the park. Sunday's quake occurred near, well, okay, this is going back to the recent, that's the older one. So they thought that this was a supervolcano's most cataclysmic eruption, as we said, 2 million years ago, covering half of North America with ash, killing prehistoric animals as far away as modern-day Nebraska, according to the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory. Heat from the vast chamber of molten rock beneath the Caldera Falls fuels the park's famous geothermal features, including Old Faithful Geyser. Okay, now as far as volcano discovery, they still have not posted today's 5.0 or even 4.4, downgraded to 4.4. They have not put that up there yet, but let's go in closer and we'll see the swarm. Okay, let's go in closer. This whole area, of course, is affected by the activity of Yellowstone. Okay, and this, as we saw, was at 9:08 local time, UTC 1808. 9:08, 9:11. Let's go to these. 9:30. This one was a 3.5 at 9:11. This was a 2.3, was it, 9:30. So you can see that the whole thing is shaking there. Okay, 2 around 9:30, 9:33. 2.4 at 9:13. And you get the picture. Let's go here. This is it. Right here, Yellowstone Lake. Panning out. And this is Long Valley Caldera right here. So that's a major event. And no doubt that's why they downgraded it. Whereas others, of course, worldwide, have it at a 5.0. Now, let's just remember that daily there's a number of quakes that take place in Yellowstone. These are the boreholes around the Yellowstone Caldera. You have Old Faithful, Little West Thumb, west boundary, Madison River, Purple Mountain, east entrance, and you can see that they have indications of the quakes on them. Hebgen Lake, I'll leave a link below for you. Mammoth Fault, you can see various quakes. If they get around to them, sometimes it takes 3 or 4 days for them to post the earthquakes there. But they're always going on. And as they told us, they're trying to get around to mapping the over 10,000 hydrothermal areas in Yellowstone. They were trying to do that. They did find an area of a new heat activity northwest of Yellowstone Lake recently, and they have not yet taken a field trip there because it's very difficult to get to. There's no roads close by. Because of the winter snow and inclement weather, they have to, I guess it'll be going a lot later once all this thaws out. And they want to find out if that is a new spring or a new geyser. The trees have been dying around there, a huge area of very specific warmth, and they have to find out what exactly is there. So I'll leave a link below for you for this. Is this thing on? This is Yellowstone day thumbs, and you can look at them. I just have it as a tab so you can find out what's going on. And we'll have more updates on this in the next few hours. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.